gonna start this workshop. So this is not a regular board meeting, as you can tell. So, and a few, we're gonna move around here. So because this is not a regular board meeting, it's a workshop, the community just gets to visit, we get to talk. I know some of us have done the budget workshops, they were great, they were my favorite. So we'll kind of run like that. We'll try to keep it to about an hour so that we're respectful of everyone's time. I know initially there was a request that we would set up a committee. However, given some time and research, the committee is not what we want. There are some legal risks to any community member who would participate in that. And really, I think what we wanted was a workshop so the entire community could participate with us. And I think that opens up to way more voices. So that's what we've decided to do. Colleen has got a wonderful presentation to help follow along. We were able to identify there are some options not available to us legally, so we won't be really digging into those. We are required to have a full-time superintendent, period. Anything outside of that puts us out of compliance. So with that, we're going to move around here, and Colleen is going to take the board. We're going to walk this way so we don't accidentally unplug.
Glad to see so many people here. I'm glad to see some teachers and administrators, because we're going to tap into your knowledge base to try and make some decisions about the best administrative setup that we can have. Can you guys hear me? Am I talking loud enough?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We can all move closer if we want. She can line up right up in her lap.
Okay. This is a process that I've used quite a bit in my professional life when you're in the situation where you need to compare a number of options and make a decision about what's the best one that meets your needs the best. And so I'm just going to walk you through the steps of this option first. The first thing that we're going to do is select the options that we want to consider tonight. Then we're going to determine what criteria we want to use to judge those options. Then we'll prioritize those. What's the most important down to the least important. We'll stop here and pause and make sure we have the information that we need to actually judge these these options appropriately. And then we're going to do an analysis where we populate a matrix with the options and the criteria and give them some grades so that we have a visual to look at to have a robust conversation about what's in our best interest for this district. So we will just go to the options. And as Lana said, we had talked a little bit earlier about a couple different options. One of them was sharing a superintendent, and we got some kind of conflicting advice between the county and the attorney at the Montana School Board Association, and we kind of concluded that it's not something that the timing, it's a little complicated, so the timing doesn't really work for us, the fact that we need to find some administration for next school year. So that's not something we're going to consider tonight. And the county, Lana did quite a bit of research and reached out to folks, and the county is not interested in serving as our superintendent or business manager or
what? Legally, the county superintendent we have, although there are some legal ways that you can have the county superintendent also be your school superintendent. Well, I'm not sure how somebody has a full-time job can be a full-time superintendent, but she does not have the qualifications required, the certifications to be our superintendent. So it's not an option, but it was one that we did look into.
So these are the options that we are putting up for discussion purposes, but it's not meant to be that this is what we have to do. And I'd like to open it up to the board members and anybody else. Did we miss something that we want to consider, or do you think this is an appropriate level of options for us to discuss tonight? Take a look at it for a minute.
I think it's appropriate. If we get into too many more, we won't have time to go through everything.
I agree.
So
I do have one question.
Sure.
So I know if we have more than 31 full-time employees, you have to have the full-time superintendent.
yeah.
But I had heard that we could have the superintendent, it could be two people working as a superintendent. So like a part-time superintendent, part-time superintendent. I'm just trying to think with like option 3. I'll just throw people under the bus because I think they do a great job. But like if Jim Holland was a half-time superintendent and Kevin Meredith wanted to take up the role as a half-time superintendent and still do a part-time principal, I think that would be, for example, a great option. So I don't know, when we say one superintendent, can
It
you be
just has to be
flexible
one
in that?
full-time superintendent, so.
Yeah, anything else, that's the only thing by law that we
It has
have
to
to
be one
have.
full-time.
Okay, that's,
That's
Not
that's
one
one
person, but
clarification.
one full-time.
It has to
position.
be one full-time because of the number of FTE we have in the school. It's a requirement by Montana law that we have to have one
Right,
full-time.
but how we fill that one superintendent position is up to us at this,
It could be
Could you
two
do
part-time.
two?
It could be two half-time.
okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Okay.
clarify that
So,
one.
so that would qualify then under option 3?
Well, the option 3 was
It could be
something
any of the
that-
options then,
that
really.
Erica
okay.
suggested was instead of completely going down to 2 administrators, we could go down to two full-time administrators and 1 half-time administrator that would also serve as the activities director, maybe a dean of students, help out with discipline, and then also teach half-time. Was that concept, which is kind of a intermediate.
Colleen, is there,
Yeah.
may I?
Sure.
Is there, and I'm not aware of this, but is there any way the superintendent person could work, part-time as, principal, half-time principal, or?
No, they have to be a
It's full-time.
full-time.
We have to have 1 FTE.
It's gotta be a full
Yeah,
FTE.
It has to be a
Okay.
full FTE.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
And the way board policy reads in the superintendent's job description, they can't have classroom duties.
Well, I was
Yeah.
thinking other things.
Okay.
Okay, that's why the halftime, having 1 person do it halftime, the
Yeah.
other person, that wouldn't,
Okay.
You'd have to change board policy.
please,
I have a question, I just wanna clarify, activities director, is that athletic director?
yes,
And is that high school, junior high, or both?
the whole
I
shebang.
think that's up for discussion, that's why we're
Okay.
here. It's just an idea, all of these could be
Yeah.
adapted, and I don't know that I would necessarily throw the AD stuff on the superintendent principal, I'd do like half principal, half teacher, and maybe keep the athletic director, cause that's a different stipend difference.
Yeah,
Correct.
a lot more
Yeah.
responsibility,
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's a different stipend through the, contract, right, your guys' contract, that is a specific position. But it is something to look at, ways to navigate that.
I guess my initial thought was you save $14,000 to $15,000 right off the top, you have to fill the position anyways, so if you had a half-time teacher who also had those duties. they'd have
Possibly, I mean, right
time.
now, I think our high school athletic director makes less than 6,000, so it's like 5,800 something.
Yeah.
And then you found, so. It's not much, it's not very expensive, I will tell you that. That needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
The statewide median is like.
So do we
That's
want,
right.
do we wanna add another option that's a little different, or is everybody comfortable with this one? These
I
three?
think those look good.
Yeah, they look great.
Everybody okay?
Does anyone not think they're great?
What?
Possibility is that other, halftime principal administrator serving with that, the other people, possibly option 4 is you could do the 1 superintendent, 1 principal halftime, and then select 2 other, athletic directors if we needed. People that would be interested in it, maybe a high school AD or a junior high AD.
So explain
Well,
that to me a little.
You have to have 1 superintendent and 1
Right,
principal.
right, you got
For the
that.
law.
Yeah,
But if you got 1 halftime administrator, serving, that could be a teacher as well, you may also select 1 or 2 other people to do the AD jobs for you.
And not have that as part of that duty.
Correct.
Is that what you're
separate.
saying?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a definite.
Halftime administrator,
may
halftime
be, and I
teacher,
don't
rather
know.
than
There may
halftime
be people that would
administrator
be
and
interested,
halftime.
maybe people
yeah.
that would be interested in being just a junior high AD, and people that would be interested in being the high school AD.
Yeah, but
The
not with all
principal,
that.
the principal could still be a halftime teacher.
Yeah,
So that would be
so
maybe another
you're
option.
so what would
talking
you have to
2
do is have
halftime
1
principals?
full-time principal.
Is that,
1 half.
cause you have to have 1 full-time principal.
Okay,
You have to have
let's
1
go-
FTE
let's go with
principal
1
and 1
full-time.
FTE superintendent.
And then you could maybe look at some roles of some of the teachers.
The third role here is kinda up for what we're thinking
How
another
you can mix and
part-time
match.
administrator to kinda help with the workload, cause that's one of our concerns
Yeah.
is this 1 superintendent, 1 principal, an unworkable workload, that's one of the things that we wanna talk to the administration and the staff about. And so the idea was if you had another half-time administrator to help out with that workload, that might make that a little more palatable
right.
or workable.
I also know that if you had the right superintendent principal combo, if the principal had to be in the elementary, the superintendent could be available for this building or whatever as to step out and be that administrative part if you had the right combo, because I know schools our size do that. They have that combo, and the superintendent principal work together, where if in one case a principal is out dealing with something in another building or whatever, then the superintendent is available for those, to pick up that slack if it's
Right.
needed.
Right.
Type of
And I
thing.
think if you go down to 2 administrators, you would have to do that, it would have to be
Yeah.
kind of written to the expectations of
Yeah.
their
They'd
job
have to-
description.
they-
They were picking up a
They'd have to
lot
back
more.
each other.
Exactly, they'd have to back each other up and have to be a solid team, but it's possible, other schools our size are doing it right now because of the cost.
Yeah.
So should that be fourth
Well, I
option?
think if we
Well, just right
select
there,
option
option
number
2.
3 as what we wanna go forward
Mhm.
with, then I think we can have a conversation about what exactly does this third position
third
consist
position
of.
look like,
We
yeah.
might wanna change, but
Yeah.
for now, I think if we go through the criteria and then
Yeah.
decide what we're talking about with that third option
Yeah,
is another halftime administrator and a halftime something. And
Okay.
we can talk about what we,
yeah.
you know,
What
what would be
realistically they can
realistically the
Yeah.
best thing for us to do.
Yeah.
Teach, not, you know, be the AD.
And I'm just gonna throw out that we have 2 admin in the house.
I
Right.
know.
So is
Exactly.
everybody okay with going forward to selecting our criteria?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is criteria that I'm used to, you know, that I offer up, but it's not meant to be, you know, this is what we're gonna go for sure. This is just some examples. Cost affordability is almost always one in any
Bottom
kind of
line.
comparison of this. Workability means, is this a manageable workload for the people we're talking about, and does it adequately support our staff and student population? Acceptability means, is this an option that the people who work in this building and the community at large think is workable and they could support? Is this something that we have a common idea that it would work for us? And sustainability is would this option last for 3 years? Could we pick this option and it would work for us 3 years into the future is basically, but what else? Does anybody else have another kind of criteria that they'd like to offer?
I like the way you have it broken down,
I
I really do,
I think this is solid.
and I like the sustainability aspect of it.
Yeah, cause we don't wanna pick something that won't work for
Exactly.
us for a while.
Yeah,
Okay, now, how we prioritize them is we vote. Oh, sorry. And I have to be able to type in here now. And I'll turn it back on so you can
Okay.
see it, but
yeah,
we need to go through these one by one and see which one is the most important to us. So we'll just do a head count. How many people think cost and affordability is the most important thing?
I think it's the second.
I think it's.
Yeah.
One vote.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
cost,
financially responsible.
cost got one vote. How many people think workability is the most important option? That's me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know, I like.
Many?
the-
I think
Yeah.
that is that the works with the community
Okay.
and
Work,
stuff.
the staff and.
I'm gonna go with that.
Probably at least 13 people would like. Acceptability. How many people think that's the most important?
What was the whole part of that, acceptability?
Acceptability is, do the people who work here and the community at large think this is an acceptable option, you know, support for it?
I think we're gonna ask for that.
And that's the most important
Can you vote
criteria.
twice?
And this is like
Can we
the
vote
most,
twice?
you can only vote once.
I don't think it's.
You wanna pick the very most, so we've got a couple votes.
Okay, I don't think it's the most.
How about sustainability?
I think,
It's important to, they're all
yeah,
important.
I think sustainability is, cause we have to have momentum, we have to maintain momentum.
they're all good.
Okay.
Now, do we all get the second vote?
Yeah.
No, we're just gonna go with the most important one, the one that got the most votes
Okay.
was workability.
Okay,
And the one that got the second number of votes was sustainability. And the third was acceptability, and cost and affordability was the bottom.
But I do kinda think that the sustainability goes with, hand in hand with the first one, cause if
It
we
does.
can't
Yeah.
afford to pay the people,
Yeah.
it doesn't sustain.
yeah,
So I
It
do kinda
does.
feel like they go together.
me too.
If you think about it, like, you know, go back to, they all, like, depending on what option, they should all be working hand in hand.
Yeah.
All four of those
Yeah.
categories.
Yeah.
If possible,
Yeah.
obviously, we can't all have everything we want, but we gotta be flexible and adaptable.
Well, yeah, and my thought on that is sustainability and cost are one and the same, because if you can't afford it, it's unsustainable.
Correct.
That's good votes. So we can say that,
Because
So
if you
maybe
look at it,
combine cost with sustainability, because that is the
Yeah.
bottom
yeah,
line.
that's the bottom, I mean, for any business.
how about board members, do you guys, does that work for you, if we combine cost and affordability with
Yeah, I think that
sustainability?
sounds appropriate.
That's a good point. So that's still second.
I would vote again.
Yeah, let's vote again.
Seriously, I would, if you
Okay.
combine that, I would change my vote.
All right, I'm gonna get rid of sustainability, and we're gonna say cost, affordability, and so now we have three criteria.
Okay.
Cost, affordability, and sustainability, workability, and acceptability. So
Okay.
we'll do it again. How many think cost, affordability, sustainability is the most
Can
important?
I ask for clarification before we vote?
Sure.
When you say workability, are you talking about workload that, sustains a quality education to our kids? Or are you talking about workability that you, like, burn out a staff person? Because ultimately, I see workability as, this has to work for our kids.
Yes. Does it adequately support?
Does it adequately
support
support
the
the
student
services our kids need?
population?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the burnout thing is also part of it. Is it a workload that is, that the people in question can manage? Cause that then feeds into how the quality of education for the kids.
I
So
just wanted to clarify because it would.
I think they're both.
Okay.
I think it's both. It's
Okay.
workload manageability and does it get what we want for our education for our children?
Okay. Thank you.
So how many people think cost, affordability, sustainability is the most important? Okay. That's 13 votes. How many people think workability is the most important?
I think it's important.
Me too. Hand in hand.
So that got 9
Well,
votes.
it's not to sustain if they get burnt out, like,
Yeah.
now I'm overthinking it.
But we can't sustain if we get burned out either.
Yeah.
And we've seen that.
Yeah, that's true. Those of us who are glutton for punishment, just stick around.
Okay, acceptability by the staff and the town. So we're at the bottom there. So let me show you.
No, how you say any rules is not critical.
Yeah, they're all critical, just the order of importance, I guess.
So
Yeah.
we got 13 votes for cost affordability, so that's our number one. Number 2 is workability, and acceptability is the bottom. Actually, we ended up with 0, but it's, doesn't matter. It's at the bottom. So that's our cascading order of importance. Goes from dollars,
Well,
workability.
dollars won't rule it though. You can't do what you can't afford.
No.
All right. So the next thing that we're gonna do is stop here and see if we have the information we need to do this comparative stuff. Maren gave me, this next slide, I have the costs of the administrative in these 3 options.
Okay.
So that's, we have this, and you can see that our status quo option costs $281,000. The middle one, which is one soup, one, principal, that saves us $82,000, and the third one saves us $46,000. Yeah.
Just because this is current wage structure, did we go out on ZipRecruiter and some other sites to gather what's the average? I did.
Oh, did you? What? No, I did not, but go.
Doesn't matter. It varies, it varies by school size, obviously, but, I think we are on the 75th percentile for superintendents. So there's very few that are making more in this state than what we're paying.
Okay.
Principals are pretty much right at average. For a school our size, I think Folsom was at 90,000. I should have brought it with me, I just came from practice, and anyways, activity directors, we are abysmally behind the curve. I'm talking not even the, like, 10%.
We have 52-54 is what we're paying.
Yeah, the
our
average
activities
the
director.
average activities director in the state of Montana makes $50,000, according to ZipRecruiter.
Is that just athletics or is that?
No,
It's
that's
activities.
everything.
It would
That's
be
everything.
athletics,
Yeah.
drama, all of it, which most districts
And I
have,
think
so.
honestly, if we can, we should just take that line item out across, so we don't have that athletic director, cause it's not an appropriate amount anyway, but I also
Right.
don't think we would wanna throw that in our admin,
Isn't that?
especially
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
where the CBA has been.
Yeah, and I think,
That is
yeah,
negotiated, we can't change it, but I don't think
Yeah.
we wanna throw that on our administration.
no,
They
You're right.
still have to get the stipend, we can't not pay them for it.
yeah,
Yes,
But I would
but
wanna,
that would be
I mean,
negotiated.
Heidi and Kevin, do you guys wanna be saddled with that athletic director? For $5,000 some dollars? No, okay, we'll take that off.
So it wasn't a principal item, it was the
That is a negotiated rate, we can't change it at this point.
Yeah.
Clarification on that though, it wasn't a principal, it was the dean of students accepting that.
It's a half-time principal, yeah, so we don't wanna
No,
saddle them
it
with
wasn't
that.
the principal, that was the
That's-
full.
So it's added to
principal.
the half-time principal, half-time teacher, we
But
don't wanna saddle them.
They
with
weren't identifying it as a principal, it was a dean of students, not a principal, so it was supportive
So it's a
staff
half
to the principal.
admin, yeah,
Yeah.
so we wanna make sure not to saddle them with that.
yeah.
Oh, be kind.
That's a good point, because that's not part
That
of
is
this,
good, cause that's not really our
process right now.
administrative cost.
Yeah.
I'll have those, yeah.
that's not administrative cost.
Yeah.
Where does the athletic director stipend come from?
It's part of the negotiated contract with your teachers,
Okay.
just like drama, skills, and safety, it's all already negotiated. We can't change it unless we don't wanna renegotiate. That's like, which I think we need to at some point, but that won't
We
be part of this
definitely need
workshop.
Okay, so that has that, getting rid of, oh, I may bring it back.
I remember,
Somebody's phone is ringing. Ed, is this your phone?
If I answer it, we're gonna have fun.
Alright. So, it's 275 for what we have now, it's 193 if we lose one, and it's 234 if we do a halftime teacher, halftime principal. But if we go back to what information is needed, I still don't have a really good handle on what our budget situation is gonna be going into next year because of this looming consulting cost that we
no
don't know where that is. So I don't have a real comfortable feeling about knowing what our budget situation is gonna be, because we started.
She's coming to share more again next board meeting.
Right, she is, and, you know, I asked her a number of questions, and she said she'd get back to me, but I don't have it today. So I don't really have a lot of confidence that we know what our situation is gonna be. I know that we started the year with no contingencies, and I know we've spent a lot on consultants. And I don't know that the missing teacher positions that we have actually fill that or not, so.
It's not sustainable to pay someone $11,000 a month to do our accounting.
Yeah.
There's no way.
But I don't know, you know, when we get to this where we're gonna analyze the cost and affordability,
Yeah.
I know what we know what these costs are,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what our budget's gonna support, so.
And that will be more addressed at our next regular
Right.
board
Yeah.
meeting.
Right.
I've asked her to paint a very clear picture, because she's seeing deficits, and we need to fix it now before we get there, because there is nothing in reserve. for
Right,
deficits.
right. So I suspect that cost and affordability is gonna, we're just gonna kinda go with our gut feeling that we might have some trouble.
And I will say, I hope all of you participate moving forward, I anticipate more workshops outside of administration, going back to that overall budget thing we did, 2 years ago or whatever. Nobody really seemed all excited at the moment, some people did, not in the community, to really start navigating where are the areas that we need to scale back so we can afford to function as a school. So that'll have
A&D
workshops moving forward.
consulting would be one of them.
Yes,
We
yeah.
cannot pay
Legal.
that forever,
So
and
that'll be
legal.
something moving forward, we'll have
We
some
can't do
more
it.
workshops to talk about our ongoing, could you look that way? Go away. So that we're hitting the whole gamut of all the things.
So the next step that we go, go ahead, Lori Jo.
I know that, the consulting is the amount is a big deal for everybody. But kind of being on the inside with my department, I just wanna say that a lot of that was very much necessary because the way we were going in just my department, and I could imagine, and it's not to blame anybody, it's just what it was, but to go ahead in that direction and without fixing it is not something that we wanna do. It's not. I mean, to not know where your department's at and then be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in the hole and no communication, that is very much not in the direction we need to go. And I believe with my whole heart that Gwen is organizing it so that we do have a foundation to go forward in a very positive direction with our school that we haven't been in a long time.
And she's not a long-term, she is working her way out now that she was our entire business management office, like she was the business manager. That's where that money came from before we hired Maren. She was the business manager. She is working her way out to make sure Maren doesn't fail. We don't wanna lose her. If we pull consulting now, we lose our business manager. She's not ready.
And I
So
feel
it's
like,
not forever.
and I
but
feel like we
keep her
may
now.
not have lost our last business manager if there would have been correct training, right? Cause I don't think it was anybody's fault. I think there wasn't correct training, and we have to figure out how to balance that and get them the training, cause that job's no joke.
Yeah.
It's not a joke, and that if we want a base for our school that's organized, that needs to be where it starts, right? Because, and so not all that money is a waste. No, we can't sustain it for a long time, but
I'm not
we
saying
need to
it's a
make
waste,
sure that
it's not.
we're
No,
doing what we can to work as a team to solidify that base and do everything we can to support it.
Yeah,
And right now, if you get rid of that, you guys probably aren't getting payroll well because they're
Yeah.
doing all of your payroll.
Well,
We
I
don't wanna
get
tap
that.
A&B,
Yeah.
they're doing a good job, cheaper than any other consultant we found out there.
and it
I
isn't.
understand that, but we also need a superintendent that is fully well versed in Montana school finance, so then they see those codes, they go, wait a minute, there's something funky going on here.
But in all honesty, we didn't have, but that wasn't necessarily there before either. So that's something that you guys also need to realize, that wasn't necessarily there before either, or we wouldn't have had this problem. And I don't know any of the details or any of that,
But
but
if
I'm
we
saying
get
that
someone that
it
is,
had
we
to
will
have
have
been,
that.
the problem had to have been there for a while.
Personally, I think there's a pretty compelling argument that we need to set up our business office for success right now.
Yeah.
But it still costs a lot of money, and that means we have to do without something else. And we're not clear on what that something else is yet. That, we do need to invest in setting up our business office correctly, unquestionably. But we're spending more money than we budgeted for to do that. So something has to give in order to make that up. And I'm not clear on what that is, and I don't know how that's gonna affect our budget going into next year, which is concerning. So that's why I think a lot of people voted for cost and affordability as our number
Yeah.
one issue, cause there's some outlying
So
problems.
we will make sure to set up workshops where we are specifically focused on the budget as a whole, as we're moving into creating our next one. because all of that needs to be, and we'll have real numbers this time. Before it was a little bit harder, I was told, well, I don't have real numbers, I can't give you these. We're getting line budget items that we've never gotten before, hard numbers. These are really helpful, and I think that that's gonna help us a lot.
I'm just gonna say as a past board member that we got line item budget
But when I asked Kelly,
reports.
told me she couldn't do them,
We got them.
and Ron warned
We
me
got
that I
it.
got them,
We
so
had
I
it.
don't know.
We
but-
were talking about third pages
Yeah.
of them, a line item,
We were told-
expense item,
Yeah. So just know that that's coming, and we've got some really hard numbers, but here we just gotta figure out what's gonna be best for the school, cost-wise, yes, but also what can we make be successful here for administration.
I just have one comment, and it is about A&B Consulting and the business office, is we are having them train Maren. Is there a contract with Maren and the school that she won't leave tomorrow after she's received all this
We
training?
can't force anyone to do that, but I tell you, if you don't train her, she's not gonna stay, you'll burn her out, this is a
Yeah.
huge job. But no, you can't force that on anybody who's in that position.
Well,
That would be
you
illegal.
can usually have some sort of an agreement that if you get all these, trainings, that you will agree to stay for so many months. I mean, it
Well, we
really
didn't pay her
is.
living expenses, we didn't seek her out
No.
like that, there's,
No, and
I
that would
hear
not be
exactly
legal.
what you're saying, but generally, that's when you're giving something and you expect something back. Training, I think, is just a normal part of business, that should be happening regardless.
so is her contract period.
It's gonna be the same contract I'm sure she had with Kelly, so was that yearly? She's an hourly employee.
Yeah, I'm just asking, so she has a contract for the year.
Correct. And they quit jobs all the time. Even teachers quit in the middle of the year, right? I mean, unfortunately, you can't force anyone to stay. So we wanna make sure she doesn't want to leave, she's getting that proper support and feels like we want to set her for success, that's the point.
Yeah.
And although, again, it's a lot of money, A&B Consulting comes as a top pick for mascot, so I don't think the show's wrong.
So this is our final step where we analyze this, and you do it by just giving it each, we'll go by criteria across the different options, and I just put these colors in to illustrate what it looks like, and I'm now gonna blank them out.
That was based on votes.
That was just me showing
Oh.
what the traffic lights look like.
Oh.
I just arbitrarily stuck colors in there so that you could see what I'm talking about when I say traffic lights.
I got you.
So now we're starting with a clean slate,
Mhm.
and we'll do this based on what we all think is right. So we'll start with our number one criteria, which is affordability, cost, and sustainability. I didn't change that, but
Mhm.
we all remember it.
Yeah.
I'll change it later. So let's go to option number 1, which is our status quo. And I'll ask green means it met the criteria, red means it does not meet the criteria, and yellow means either it's somewhere in between or you don't know. So how many people think option number 1, which is what we have right now, meets our criteria of affordability, cost, and sustainability?
Red.
Red.
Yellow.
Okay, we've got red. How many red votes?
It doesn't work, red, it doesn't work.
Red is it's not affordable.
Right. Red means it failed. There's 13 for red. How many yellow?
7.
7 yellow. Do we have a green? Okay, well, the reds have it, but I'll put in here that there were also some
Orange.
I'm not gonna keep going back and forth, I'm just
That's
gonna write
fine.
this down
That's
and then
fine.
do it. So option number 1, the reds have it, but there were also 7 yellows, and I will put that in here later. Option number 2, how many people think option number 2 is affordable, cost effective and sustainable, so that would be, how many greens do we have?
How do we know if it's affordable and it's sustainable? I mean, I get it that what we spent this year, but who gave us that? What is affordable and what's sustainable when it comes to what the superintendent and two principals make?
Well, that
I mean,
gets
is there
us
a
into
guideline
this,
of what the principals come in at, or what the superintendents come in at, or does that
it's
adjust
that
a little bit?
unknown that we don't actually have hard budget numbers today to do this, that's why I talked to you a little bit
I mean,
about
like
that.
superintendents, when a superintendent comes in without a doctorate, or is that I'm guessing that's a lower pay rate.
I don't know, what did Tom Chisholm make?
Oh, like 40%.
I'll tell you, the $110,000 that you had up there is legit. That's a good number.
Okay,
So it is a real,
Yeah.
It's a
What I
relative
see
number.
and advertised
real
on
number.
OPI, it's a real number.
It's a real number.
Like, if you just look at, we've got three things lumped here together, affordability, cost, and
Yeah.
sustainability. It's affordable because it's less than we're paying right now. You know, but we don't know, I mean, the cost is less. We don't know if it's affordable completely because we don't have those hard budget numbers and we don't know how much the money we spend on consultants, whether you think it's a good idea or not, is gonna affect how much money we have going forward.
But what we're paying out,
So
what we paid out this year
we're wondering,
is,
yes.
$82,000 less than what.
It's
this year.
$82,000 less, so it's definitely more affordable than our status quo option, so.
but what we paid out this year
And
is pretty normal
sustainability.
for principals and.
And if you consider sustainability, that's one of the issues with option number one. We heard from the accountant that in 2 years, we have some grim financial future ahead of us, so that makes the most expensive version tougher to swallow in 2 years.
So we're basically just saying, of those three options, which one is the most
If you think,
likely to succeed?
yeah,
For
or,
now.
yeah, well, we think that option number one, probably, most people thought it was red, so that's
Yeah.
mostly not meeting that criteria. Option number two, that probably meets our criteria the best, cause
Yeah.
it's the cheapest,
Yeah.
you know, of the three options. So how many people think that one's green? Okay. I am gonna put this in, so while we're talking about it, we can look at it. So option three, this is our in-between guy. This is not as cheap as option two, but not as expensive as option one. And it might be, you know, a step in the right direction, and we might not have to be quite as draconian as going to, but that's up. How many people think this is cost, you know, it's affordable and sustainable? That would be vote for green.
Can we vote again?
Well, you can vote for red or yellow.
Oh, I wanna vote for yellow.
So that's 9 votes. How many people think it's somewhere in between, yellow? How many think it's red? Yellows have it. All right, so we got one that meets it pretty well, one that doesn't, and one that's in between. So the next one is workability, and I'm glad there's some teachers and administrators in here, because this is, we really want some input from you guys about, I'm assuming that option one is workable, cause that's what we've been doing. But what do you guys think, that's something that meets the needs of our kids currently, and, you know, and we already, sustainability's in the other one, so this is this something that meets the needs of our children? And is it a workload that doesn't make these people wanna pull their hair out of their heads?
They might wanna do that anyway.
So how many people think option one, which is what we have right now, the status quo, is a green?
I mean, it is great, obviously, but.
It works.
It's working right now, kind of.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the people.
Does anybody think it doesn't work?
I think the reason I can't, I'm not looking for it, is it matters on who the people are.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Well,
know we're
just-
gonna be getting a new person, and,
Yeah.
you know, are they gonna
Well, just
come out?
kinda think of it from the workload,
reality.
the
Yeah.
workload
The reality
perspective
of
of
it.
any generic administrator
The reality.
that comes in,
Yeah.
does this number of administrators meet our needs, and is that something they can do without being, you know, getting burnt out?
Probably.
I think right now our numbers are lower, but if you look down the road, our numbers are gonna be bigger, coming up and through, and the needs are a little higher.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider
Yeah.
in the future.
So I think, the majority thinks that this passes with workability. So, let's show you this. So that's that one. So option two is the most draconian of our three options as far as reducing in staff and does it meet the needs. So I'm really wanna lean on the teachers and administrators in this room to give us your take. Kevin and Heidi, what do you guys think about this?
I think to have to do both principal positions in the elementary and high school would be an extremely difficult job for one person to do both those. Cause there are times when Kevin's running all day, I'm running all day, and I don't even see him sometimes. So that would be a tough position to have one principal. And it would depend on the superintendent and how active the superintendent was in helping do some of that admin. So there's a lot of variables there, but it's hard to gauge because
You don't know who the person
unknowns.
is and what they're,
Yeah, that's the unknown.
So it's could it work? It's basically because we don't know who the person is,
Right,
so.
it's an unknown person.
If you get the right people, could that work? And, well, while I'm talking, can you have like 2 yellows on the workability line? Could you, do we have to have 1 red, 1 green, and 1 yellow on each line?
No.
Or could we
No.
have, okay.
No, you can
There's
do
2
whatever.
yellows.
So
Those
we
are just
could
the
have
grades,
2
but first on
yellows.
the votes, and it just turned out to be 3 different
Yeah.
colors,
Right.
but we could have all green,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, okay.
I also think it is important to take into consideration the point that was just put in, is this sustainable with growth?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it is sustainable with continued growth, and we're gonna continue growing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
It's a good thing, we've not been
Yeah.
growing, if it's something we grow, we can always add another admin back.
Yeah.
We can always
Yeah.
adjust
You can
up.
always adjust up,
And
right?
if they stay.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cut in because I had my hand up for a while and she called on me,
Okay.
but, 2 things for this. Sustainability in this particular one, if we cut now to save our school, because that's where we're at, it doesn't have to be forever. The school has run onto admin before, this wouldn't be the first time. So, they take into consideration that if we do make this cut, it might be temporary and we could bring in another principal down the road. The other thing is, we have cut student budget, like classroom budgets are gone. Our students are missing out, activities are missing out. Everywhere else has been trimmed, so not admin yet. So we do need to make a tough decision, like as a school, and we've trimmed everywhere else we can. It's time to look at these positions and see if they're necessary for right now. We can totally go back and add them later.
When did we have 2 admins?
Like back.
When I went to
way
school,
before
there
our-
was 2.
Go back.
It's before our time.
Yeah.
It was before your time.
Betty, you and I, when we were in high school, there was one principal and
There
one
was.
superintendent, Mr. Webb and Mr. Richards, Mr. Webster.
Yeah.
We had a health issue that required an administrator to be gone, and we contracted out for a part-time, principal.
It wasn't intentional.
For two to 3 days a week as needed.
Yeah.
And it has been in the last 5 years, 6
Yeah.
years maybe.
Okay, so that,
So,
but wasn't that we had two administrators, we
But
had
it
to be
was
coming in to
for-
help, cause
It
it was
was
a sick issue.
for almost half a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those
But
of you that.
different than what we're talking about
But
here.
it wasn't intentional.
But correct.
Also,
It
that's
doesn't
not
have to
have to
be.
It wasn't intentional, but I'm
We still did
saying,
it.
We made it
it wasn't
work,
impossible.
So we had an option 3 at one point.
yeah.
Right, you
Yeah.
can still leave option 3, but
But when I was
also,
in high school here, we had one superintendent, one principal, and there was half again as many kids in
Yeah.
the school.
There it is.
So I know it's possible.
I knew I
but-
heard it from
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
And OPI
I know,
wouldn't
I
have
was
the
like, that
standard
was
if it
good.
was unworkable, guys, like, it would be a different
Yep.
standard, don't forget that part too.
What do you think, Kevin? Yeah, what do you think?
Sure, well, if we were to vote, I would tell you on option 2, I would vote very adamantly red. I feel as though the workability of it would not work.
Okay,
Right.
so our two
Sounds like
administrators
Patty has
are
the
not
same
fans. How about the teachers? What do you think about the support that you get from only 2 administrators?
I think it would only work if we had very clear, if a kid does this, then this happens, like no gray area, cause then the staff would have to know, like, we don't have a principal available, this is the step, no negotiating, it had to be clear, I'm talking about discipline and things. And we need to have, we'd have to, like, we used to have, the EMTs who were staff members, we had a system in place, if there was an emergency, they got a phone call to their room, they had a plan to leave their classroom, they went, like, we just have to have a lot of, we'd have our ducks in a row. And there's a lot of things a lot more meetings involved to make sure.
Yeah.
So I think we have a great staff who would step up if we're given the right direction, but it would involve a lot more planning.
Also, would it be too much on the teachers, like, it sounds like your expected workload is going to increase if you don't have access to a principal in each of your wings, right? Is that going to be workable for most of the teachers when you think about the class that you have, the workload you have?
I lived in the castle where there was no principal. Our principal was over here. And so we had to work together with discipline and collaboration and all that, and we made it work. I think that we could pull together as a staff if there were proper training to be supportive, and I think if we had to, we could make it work for a year. If we had to do that to make ends meet, to sustain that, but what I don't think we can do is cut more staff when we don't have enough electives in the high school right now for the kids. And why are we here? We are here for the kids. We might have to step up as a staff and as a whole to suck it up for a year and do that, because we need electives for the kids. We cannot continue this attrition by retiring. I mean, my
This
gosh,
might not
when
be
I started here,
sustainable if you're looking at just maybe a year trying to grit your teeth and get through it.
yes, we don't have to worry about, if we have more kids and we can afford it, we could do that, but you can live with anything for a year. I mean, but we can't keep doing what we've done this year for the kids without enough electives to take the kids in. We graduate a class of 25 seniors, we're gonna have about, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, cause I think you know all the numbers, 33 incoming freshmen. So we're gonna have more freshmen coming in than we have seniors leaving.
I think there's 42.
I was gonna say there's 42, I think.
42 freshmen? Okay, so
Between
tell
the
me,
two, it's
yeah,
different
about
classes.
25 seniors, 42 freshmen, that's 17 more kids. Are you gonna cram more kids into fewer classrooms than we already have right now? That's what I'm saying is, we can suck it up. If we can maintain what we have as a teaching staff, right now, and I mean replacing Lori when she retires, because she teaches junior high math, so we're not, yes. As a teacher, I would be more than willing to step up and say, yes, let's get together, let's figure out how we can do this and survive.
The hard part is some of those electives we can't find teachers for, right? So then it's
Well, but we've,
online learning for either.
we have, our teacher who's now teaching 5th and 6th grade art rather than an art elective. We have a PE teacher who's not offering a PE elective because he's teaching 5th and 6th grade PE. Those kinds of things are causing strain on electives.
Yeah, I know some of the kids I know had to take like their elective PE online, right, do the
Yeah.
NTDA classes.
Mrs. Mitchell. Her hands up longer.
And I will say that you're gonna see declining enrollment from people, cause if my daughter's taking half of her classes as like online or not getting actual instruction teacher time and good electives, like, we're gonna pull her.
Not the electives, right?
So, like, Lisa has very valid points on the staff side of things that I agree with. But we also gotta look at, when thinking of sustainability, the lower end are a lot smaller than the 7th to 12th right now. So right now, we're seeing that spike, but then we're gonna see that dip a little bit in the class sizes, so we gotta keep that in, kind of remember, but being a staff member, I got to sub in for Kevin for a week, and my eyes got open very, very quickly, and everything, so, honestly, I agree with Kevin on this. For 2 people demand 3 jobs is gonna be hard due to, and I was just talking to Heidi, due to the culture we have in our community and climate right now, both of those guys are gonna be running around with their heads cut off, and I think we may have the superintendent not doing the full job that we are hiring them to do. They're gonna eventually turn into a part-time high school, part-time superintendent. That's what eventually will happen due to our situation here at school. So that's kind of my go-to as my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
So how many people think it's green? How many think it's yellow?
I think it's a yellow. Step up and manage their classroom.
How many think it's red?
I can see
Which is
that.
fair, yeah, I can see it too, and it's not sustainable.
Red's hat.
Yeah. I get that.
We love our admin.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't love the admin, it's that we literally need to look at the long term of our school. We're gonna all be shipping our kids to Thompson. Hot Springs is in it, we're in it, Knoxon's in it, like, 9 through 12, we're gonna have a county high school if we don't right the ship and look forward to the future.
I think schedules, employment schedules is gonna be a big factor to that next year.
Mm.
For sure.
We're starting right now for next year.
So now we're on option 3. 2.5 administrators with the other half to be determined.
Yeah.
Half admin, half
teacher, maybe.
teacher, activities director, something, right?
Well, if you had half admin, half teacher, then you'd have half of electives, and you would still have admin available half-time. I
Yeah.
think that's far more workable than the middle one, for sure.
Yeah. Does anybody, how about you administrators, what do you think, does this make this more palatable to you?
10 years ago, our enrollment dropped enough to the point that we were classified as a Class C school. And when I actually came to this district, I was hired as a halftime principal. And I worked as a halftime principal, halftime math teacher for my first 2 years in this district. When our enrollment was slightly lower in the high school, but it was actually a little higher K-12 at that time than we are right now. And we were able to make it work. I worked very, very closely with the elementary principal because when I was in the classroom, he would take diligent notes about the situations that were going on so that when I was out of the classroom, then I would kind of step worked and was doable. Not perfect, of course, nothing organization is perfect, but it was doable.
What do you think, Heidi?
It depends on the person, depends on who you get.
All of this,
Mm-hmm.
all of this does.
You gotta have good chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we advertise for these positions and interview them, we have to keep all of this in mind, that if we, whatever option we select,
These are the criteria.
these are the criteria that we need to think about when we select them. So for option number 3, how many people think that that's a green?
That's more, far more powerful.
Wait, what
It
color
is
is this?
Green for option 3.
We got 17,
That's the biggest vote yet.
17 greens. How many, yellows? 1, 2, 6 yellows. How many reds? What do the greens have? Alright. So except buy-in is, does the staff and the community think this option is acceptable? Option number 1 is the status quo. How many people think that is acceptable to the staff and the community at large?
Have a comment on that?
Sure.
So, at the last board meeting, and we all know we're headed towards being financially very strapped. If we maintain that, the community is not going to see where we are really trying to make ends meet by making some adjustments from within. So for me, the community buy-in on option number 1 is going to be very, very low, based on where we're headed and what the constant financial reports are.
And if their class sizes start getting, one teacher, bigger kids, I think they're gonna be a little upset if
We
keep
have
the
all the
status
4th
quo.
grades, everything.
Yeah,
the 4th
and as a
grade
teacher,
class.
my buy-in isn't great there because I know what the staff has taken as cuts already for the number of positions.
How many votes for green? For option number 1? How many for yellow? Yellows. How many for red?
I think that's 2.
You got 12.
You're gonna be a pro at this.
I'm learning Keynote. It's a little different than PowerPoint. So option number 2, which is, 1 student, 1 principal. Does anybody have any thoughts or comments about that? Sure.
I think it would be important to distinguish, when you talk about the community, are you talking about everybody who lives in Plains, or are you talking about the stakeholders? Because there are people in the community that have no relationship with the school, they just hear things and then, they just hear about what happens, and so
They pay their
I think for
taxes.
buy-in, you really need the stakeholders to buy in.
Yeah, absolutely.
taxpayer.
The
Yeah.
people who have influence and are interested.
Yeah, they
You
pay
know,
taxes.
that's the people that we're talking about, not people who just live here and could care and aren't paying attention.
Float a levy and then find out how full this
Yeah.
room is. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I've seen 2 of those, and you find out who your stakeholders are in short order.
Yeah.
Okay, so option 2, one superintendent, one principal, how do you think the stakeholders will feel about that? And that's people in this room and outside.
Are we discussing that real quick?
Yeah.
I think it would show the general public, especially before we try to float a levy, that we're actually trying at the school level to like right the ship. And as I said, this is a temporary fix. I do not think it's like long-term sustainable, especially if our enrollment goes up. But it would show all the taxpayers that like this school, this district is trying to fix things from internal. So then maybe and it would rebuild trust, and we need to be more transparent from now on too, to rebuild that trust. And then it would be worth floating a levy to show everybody that this is how we're being responsible with the money that you're paying us. Because it's taxpayers that fund this school, period.
Okay. How many people think it's green? How many people think it's yellow? Yellows. How many think it's red? Yellows have it.
Colleen, I think that maybe, just as we had problem with Paris for a bit, and we went quite a long time without Paris. I think that'd be really, I mean, the hiring situation nowadays for jobs is quite different than it used to be, and I think we would need to consider that as well, is with one superintendent, one principal, and then short pairs, that would be impossible.
That's a really good point, cause the pairs are hard to cover all the recesses and
The
when all
gaps.
the teachers are eating lunch or on the prep, and when the principal right now is currently, by both of them, I'm not sure, but covering when we are short-staffed with the pairs, so that's a really good point.
Make sure to write that down so we do the workshops for the full budget. That is something we can really focus on, because I think that's really important.
I think that would make option number 2 not sustainable, like having the staff to help fill in the holes, that's a good point.
I know we're getting close to time on this.
So option number 3.
Yep.
2.5 administrators. How many people think this is a green? Okay, that's a lot.
Put a lot.
How many people think it's a yellow? How many vote red? Greens have it. So,
Thank you, Colleen, for doing that.
based
Yeah,
on,
very well done.
based
nice
on
work.
what we did together here, it looks more like our intermediate step, not the full draconian and not the status quo. Seems like most people feel more comfortable with that option. Does anybody wanna give a dissenting view to that, to that conclusion?
I would only add that I agree with Larry Joe on the pairs. Pairs are key when in the classroom, and if pairs can work with kids in the classroom, they can make all the difference in the world. So to focus more on more pairs in the classroom, I know we're trying to do the bottom line, but.
Well, and right now, we're just focusing on administration, so the
Yeah.
workshop is only
Yeah.
on administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do the
Yeah.
staffing.
And I just meant when we're short pairs and it's a long span of time before they're in the building, that puts more on.
So that'll be something to talk at the next workshop about. Right now,
Yeah.
we have to stay on administration,
Yeah.
that's what we.
We've only
that's
got
what
a
we
little
do.
bit of time left, so we don't take, but the next step is, what do we do next? We've decided as a group that we wanna go for 2.5 administrators do we wanna try and advertise this ourselves for a while, or do we wanna go to a consultant?
I think that's something that we'll need to talk further on. There are some potential legal pitfalls that we'll fall into on the top one, so we've been encouraged by multiple areas not to do that. That would be our county superintendent and the county attorney, MTSBA and legal law all said there are some things you can follow that you don't wanna do that. There's a reason our school district's never done it, and school districts do not do it.
Yeah, what's the
top part, when
what's
you're
the legal
advertising
part?
yourself, if it looks like you're stacking the deck, if you're doing something where you're trying to put just the people you want to apply in there, if you're not doing it nationally, I mean, there was a lot of things that they said, there's a reason people don't do that.
But we have to follow.
So that's what I'm saying, we need
Yeah.
to step back, and as a board, we talk about what are the legal issues before we talk about that with the community. Just like we did a really good run through on our options, we wanna make sure that when we come to it, it's something that we're comfortable with, even presenting, to make sure that we are not gonna get in any legal pitfalls.
We just did this a short time ago, what if we used the same roadmap that was all lined out by legal at Montana School Boards? You probably had the same ads, you probably had all of it in recent filing. Why reinvent the wheel? Use the templates that Montana School Board Association used, and then use legal when you have to do contract law. But, and run that by your county superintendent and your county attorney, because they already work for us for tax
Chit-chatting with
dollars.
them already.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
They were the ones who said, don't do it. They
Yeah.
said, don't do it. The county attorney said, do not do it.
Yeah.
So that would be something I think we need to investigate
Yeah.
further and bring it to the community.
But
Here are those legal pitfalls. Here's why people are encouraging us not to do it. Here's the pieces that maybe we can do. Here's the pieces maybe we shouldn't. Just like we broke down the superintendent. I think we don't have time to get into it now. We'll be having a lot of discussion about things we
Yeah.
don't know enough about. So that part I would put a pin in. Okay. And today it was just about the administration position. And I do think we were successful on that. That was very beautiful.
Nice work. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
really appreciate
Good job.
Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah, thanks.
the work ahead of time,
Yeah.
board members, thank you.
So when is the next meeting?